Howdy, friends, and welcome to Inside Johnny's Mind, the show where two dirty combo players strive to be a terrible influence on the casual Commander community. I'm your host, Achija.
And I'm Cam. And just a warning, we do swear on this show. So if you're listening with children who somehow haven't heard the F word, well, that's great. They should be exposed to the real world. What's our topic today, Achija?
Well, as savvy Commander players probably know, we just had Commander Christmas.
Yeah, the new precons came out for 2019.
Absolutely. And, well, I actually built one of the face commanders.
Yeah, and I have a list for one of the cards that came in it that everybody's freaking out about. We have very different deck lists here. So we're just going to try and go over, talk about some of the precons, some of the cards that we thought go in them, and cool combos that we found, favorite pieces of the precons and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But first, we have to do our card of the month.
Yes. So last month we had our lovely What Should Be Unbanned card of the month.
Yes.
And y'all went with the stupid option of
Bringing it back, bringing my streak back.
Of the one that will never actually be unbanned. Worldfire.
Look, we don't know. Painter's Servant just got unbanned.
Worldfire will probably be unbanned someday. Or at least has a greater chance of doing so.
You don't know that.
Fucking fast.
You don't know that. You're not on the rules committee. You're not. Or the advisory group.
Well, see, people on the advisory group have said that they're cool with Worldfire.
But how many of them have been asked about Fastbond?
Do they even need
to
be?
See?
They
haven't even had the thought brought up to them.
He won.
You're goddamn right.
So, this month, I'm going to cheat a little bit.
Yeah. He picked his card after I told him my card. I was like, fucking okay.
Actually, no. I picked it before you told me yours.
Yeah, and then I told you mine and you changed yours. That's what happened.
No.
Yes,
no.
You picked this one. And then I was like, okay, I'll pick this one.
This was for a different theme. This was not a reprint, sir. This was not a reprint.
All right, fucking whatever. Okay, so my card of the month this month. So the card of the month, the theme that we're going for this month is favorite card that we're putting in the deck lists that we're going to talk about.
Yep.
And mine is Pontiff of Blight, which is a 6-drop 2/7 that has Extort, and it gives all your other creatures Extort, which is super good in the deck that it's in. And I'll talk about that entire deck later on in the episode.
Yep.
You cheated with this card.
Hold on.
You're cheating in multiple ways.
Okay. So one of my favorite cards that I put into my deck, which is Savine.
See?
Is Chandra, Accolade of Flame.
Uh-huh.
That's 1 red for Planeswalker Chandra with 4 loyalty. Has a 0 ability. Put a loyalty counter on each red Planeswalker, which is actually pretty good. Cool.
That's pretty solid.
With some of the themes that I've done with the deck.
Yeah.
Then another 0 that nobody cares about.
No.
And then a -2, and this is why she's actually in the deck. You may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard. If that card would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not my card of the month.
Yeah. See how I said he cheated? He cheated in multiple ways.
The reason my card of the month is my card of the month is because of Chandra, Acolyte of Flame.
And your commander.
And my commander, yes. So, for those who haven't read Savine, Savine is 2 blue, red, white for a legendary creature, human wizard. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to Savine, which is
Pretty
fucking
solid.
awesome.
Pretty good.
And whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard each turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super solid.
So Chandra's -2 allows you to cast a spell from your graveyard with CMC 3 or less. So all this leads up to my card of the month, which is Intuition.
Yeah. He fucking... Such a cheater, dude.
So, for those of you who don't know, Intuition is a fucking expensive card. That's 2 and a blue for an instant.
It's not gifts ungiven.
It's technically not gifts ungiven. 2 and a blue for an instant. Search your library for any 3 cards. Reveal them to target opponent. They choose one. Put that card into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Shuffle your library afterwards.
Yeah. So Chandra lets you cast that from your graveyard and Savine copies it. So you get to basically gifts ungiven twice after you've hypothetically already
Done
gifts
it
ungiven once.
So I can search for 9 cards with Intuition.
Yeah. Intuition is... How much is Intuition?
Like $80.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It's a really, really expensive card.
I bought it originally for my Mystics deck.
Yeah, and you also didn't pay like $80 whenever you got it.
Yeah, I got it like for 65.
Yeah, somewhere around.
It
60.
might still be around there, but I
don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably gone up.
Yeah.
It's a good ass card. Like we said, it's air quote not gifts ungiven, and gifts ungiven's a fucking banned card. So, yeah, Intuition is super good. So we're just gonna blow by the fact that you cheated.
Like you cheat every fucking
again,
month. Fast bond last month.
And again, my card is Pontiff of Blight, which is great. It's why it's 70 cents.
Yes.
But yeah, so we're going to talk about some of the deck lists that we've made.
Yes.
He talked about his commander is Savine. I picked one of the commanders that was not like the headlining commander, but a legendary creature printed in the Rakdos deck, I think.
Yes.
Which is a card I'm sure everybody's fucking heard about. Everybody. People have talked about whether or not this card's going to be banned. It won't be, but fucking this card's dope. It's Crick. It's spelled super weird. I'm going to call him Crick, son of Yawgmoth. He costs 4 and 3 Phyrexian black mana for a 2/2 with lifelink. He has an ability that says whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on him.
Yep, and that's why people play him.
And so he's pretty good. As you can tell,
other reason.
Pontiff of Blight would be really good in that deck.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of black cards in general. And then he has another ability.
No, we don't need to talk about that one.
Okay, that's fair. So yeah, it's basically just big black. So his other ability is for each black in a mana cost, you can pay 2 life instead of paying that mana cost. So for every cost that you have for spells or activated abilities or anything like that, for every black mana, it just becomes Phyrexian black mana, which, as we all know, is a balanced and fair mechanic.
Isn't Morrow on record saying that Phyrexian mana was a mistake?
Yeah, and that he hates it?
Uh-huh.
Yes, you're correct.
And then...
and then they print
the
most Phyrexian card that has ever existed.
They print Crick.
Yeah.
And then, what, two sets ago, they print that obnoxious fucking artifact that I hate.
Oh, Bolas' Citadel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is also Phyrexian mana, pretty much. Yeah, super good. In the deck as well, by the way. And is one of the main win cons.
Yeah.
Because Bolas' Citadel is a really good card. Especially when it costs 3 mana. Which, that's what Crick does, makes it cost 3 mana. So, yeah, do you want to talk about your deck, or you want to talk about my deck first?
Let's talk about some of the cool combos that I've seen.
Okay, yeah.
Online, the Spike Feeders did an episode with Anya.
Okay.
Anya Falconwrath.
Yeah, I think I watched that.
And watching... them just
Anya seems insane, man.
Rip through their deck with Anya.
Yeah.
That was a sight to behold. Like,
that was
honestly.
super cool.
Then the other one, the other commander that everyone's talking about that has fucking amazing combo potential is Elsha of the Infinite.
Yeah.
That's 2 blue, red, white for a legendary creature Jin Monk with prowess. It's a 3/3. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast the top card of your library if it's a non-creature, non-land, and you may cast it as though it had flash.
Yeah. So she is
the ultimate Commander Eggs commander.
She's super, super, super powerful.
That's just another one where if it's built right, it'll just rip through your deck.
Yeah,
and
same kind of thing as Anya, where you just you cast it and just blow through your fucking deck. And yeah, she's honestly really, really good. Being able to not have to worry about drawing cards and all that kind of stuff is historically just super powerful. That's one of the reasons things like Bolas's Citadel is powerful. That and obviously paying life instead of mana. Mystic Forge as well, being very powerful.
Mystic Forge is a powerful Magic card.
It is a powerful Magic card. As you can tell by it recently being fucking restricted in Vintage.
Yep.
Card's got to be pretty good for it to get fucking restricted in Vintage. Proof being, they just unrestricted Fast Bond in Vintage.
Yeah.
Those announcements were made at the same time. So, yeah. Talking about other cool combos and interesting little things. One thing that one of the guys at the shop that we play at brought up is you can actually play morphs off the top of your deck with Mystic Forge.
Yep.
Because they're colorless.
Yep.
Morphs are colorless. And so you can stick a Mystic Forge in the Morph Precon and, again, just start tearing through your deck with that.
That's freaking cool.
Which is actually pretty dope. Like, that seems pretty sick.
And then I guess just reprints I'm happy to see. Una's Grace was an excellent reprint. It hadn't gotten that expensive, but it's a little hard to find.
Yeah,
because
it's a really good card.
It's a very
especially
good card.
in that deck.
Yeah, especially in this deck.
Seedborn getting reprinted was cool.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, you don't like Seedborn. Seedborn getting reprinted was cool. Now I have multiple Seedborns. Seedborn also wasn't super expensive when they reprinted it.
Yeah.
But it's cool that more people have access to that. Because it is kind of unfair for, some people to have a Seedborn and other people not.
Yeah.
It is a pretty powerful card. Chaos Warp was reprinted. We were talking about that. That was a good reprint. But yeah, there were some pretty good reprints.
And then all of those morphs that unmorph to counter spells.
Oh yeah, like Stratus Dancer.
Yeah, Stratus Dancer.
And Willbender and all that.
Willbender, yeah.
Those were super good.
Those were really nice reprints.
There was also a new one. I don't remember what it's called. But whenever you turn it face up, you counter a spell, and then you can cast that spell for free. That one's super good. I stuck that in Animar fucking immediately. But yeah, there are some really good reprints, really cool new cards as well. Overall, I think this year's Commander Precons were a lot better than last year's.
I think so. Not necessarily due to the power level of the commanders. I think Amy and Yannette were really powerful.
I think they had a lot better synergy.
Yeah, the synergy in these decks was really good right off the bat.
Yeah, you didn't need to do a lot to make them, really start popping off.
And I mean, I like Savine. Everyone else wanted to play Elsha. Everyone else at our pre-con event replaced Savine with Elsha.
Yeah.
And I played straight Savine, and I won our event.
Yeah.
So
it definitely seems like the pre-con was designed for Savine to be at the helm. And Savine's super good. She's really good as a value commander, and is a really good value engine. Very similar to more classic value commanders like Muldrotha. That kind of stuff, where you just keep getting the value out of the things that you're doing.
Yeah, he's really interesting. I've never really played value.
We talked about that.
And so we'll start getting into my deck now. It's a very interesting change of gears for me to switch from combo control or fast combo into a sort of value combo deck.
Yeah. I want to slow things down a little bit.
Yeah, slowing things down, taking my time, but still tapping out every turn is a little odd.
Yeah. It can also kind of feel a little scary.
Yeah.
In a lot of these things where you're like, well, I'm gonna play these things and I'm gonna commit to the board, and if I get fucked, then I guess I get fucked.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a graveyard deck, and graveyard hate is a thing, and fuck you, all you content creators who keep telling people to run graveyard hate.
Including us,
by the way.
Yeah, run graveyard hate. It was pretty brutal, man. When we were playing the other day, I was playing my Kaikar deck.
Yep.
And fucking every game, within the first 3 turns, I got like a Tormod's Crypt or a Scavenger Grounds. And I was just like, man, I'm sorry. Like, that sucks.
All right. Well, I guess first off, let's talk about this very small stack of cards that I kept in.
Yeah, from the precon.
Aside from Savine, of course.
Right.
The first thing I did was I ripped out all the other commanders, because Pramacon's fun, but doesn't belong in this deck.
No.
And Elsha can work in this deck. It gives you another place to cast from, but it's a 4 mana, 5 mana commitment. 5 mana commitment that's just not super synergistic with the rest of the deck.
It's kind of like, would you run Future Sight?
Yeah, exactly.
Not really, so why would you run
exactly
Elsha in that deck?
So the first one is Una's Grace. Una's Grace is pretty typical of the type of card that I kept in.
Yeah, I also want to say that it is relatively typical of the kind of cards you get in a precon, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that for what it, like, if you look at it, 2 and a blue to draw a card.
Yep.
Right? That doesn't seem very good.
Nope.
It has Retrace, which
and
lets you kind of...
instant.
And it's an instant, which is good. And it has Retrace, which lets you keep doing it. But in precons that are built to kind of abuse that...
Yep.
Where, like, Savine, for example... Where you're copying it when you retrace it and all that, it just gives you a crazy amount of value.
And the fact that I can retrace Una's Grace every single turn.
Yeah.
And if I reduce the cost of my spells with something like Arcane Melee, which is 4 and a blue for an enchantment that says instant and sorcery spells cost 2 less to cast. Now, that is global.
Or even something like a Goblin Electromancer or something like that.
Goblin Electromancer, Baral's in the deck.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That's 2 cards a turn for a mana every turn and discarding a land. Yeah. Oh, darn.
Dang. It's really not that bad.
But like I said, that's pretty typical of the type of card that I kept in. Mm-hmm. For example, Faithless Looting, again, drawing cards from the graveyard. Deep Analysis, drawing cards from the graveyard. Chemister's Insight, drawing cards from the graveyard. Secrets of the Dead, I kept in. Whenever you cast a spell from the graveyard, draw a card. Think Twice.
Right.
Draw cards from the graveyard. You might be seeing...
A lot of cycling, a lot of...
lot of flashback.
Yeah.
Anything that had flashback in the deck that had flashback and said draw card.
Yeah, you're like done.
Yeah, that good. Done immediately.
Easy.
Then I kept Mystic Retrieval in because it's just a solid flashback card.
Yeah. Getting
to return 3 spells with Savine from your graveyard to your hand is very good.
Kind of seems like one that if that wasn't in the precon, I feel like you probably would have put it in the in the deck.
Exactly. Exactly that. And I found that a lot in this deck is like, if they hadn't put Una's Grace in this deck, I would have gone out and bought an Una's Grace for the deck.
Yeah.
Same with Mystic Retrieval, same with Chemister's Insight, same with Faithless Looting. A lot of these cards that you would think immediately, hey, let's put that in the deck.
They were in the deck.
Another one being Runic Repetition, which is 2 and a blue for a sorcery. Return target exiled card with flashback you own to your hand.
Right.
And that is actually kind of an interesting combo with Mystic Retrieval. Because you
that's interesting.
Yeah, because you can use Runic Repetition to get Mystic Retrieval back. You can cast Mystic Retrieval, cast it again for flashback, get 3 spells, including Runic Repetition back.
You just keep doing it.
And then use Runic Repetition to get Mystic Retrieval back. So you can kind of cycle through up to 2 other instants and sorceries besides Runic Repetition. Right. And if you're reducing casting costs with stuff like Arcane Melee, then you're getting a lot of value with that particular loop.
Seems good.
Another one, happy to see Factor Fiction in this deck.
Yeah, and they did also just reprint Factor Fiction
Yeah.
in Modern Horizons.
It's not that it needed a reprint, but it's
it's damn good.
Yeah,
in the
it's
deck.
a solid fucking card. Another one that I would have immediately put in, Increasing Vengeance. I'm actually a little sad that this one was in here because I have like 4 in my binder.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool, flashback. I'll put Increasing. No.
Nope, already there.
Already there.
They beat you to it.
Prismatic Strands I kept in the deck because it's the only fog with flashback in white.
In white, yeah.
The other fogs have like green in their casting cost.
So stuff like Constant Mist
Yeah.
says buyback, but that's a green card. That kind of stuff.
Moment's Peace, I think, is the one.
Yeah, I think so.
With
Something like that.
With flashback in green. Then of course there's Chaos Warp.
Yeah, solid card.
Solid card. Ray of Distortion I kept in because I haven't found a better way of destroying either an artifact or an enchantment with flashback in white. So, I mean, the fact that I can fire it off the first time for 4, that's not great. The second time for 6,
Is okay.
getting 2 that's okay.
It's all right.
But it's fairly solid removal.
Yeah.
If tomorrow they printed a better flashback card with
that kind of
with
a
that
text,
kind
then
of
you'd
a
be
text,
like, yeah, done. And it's also, it is worth noting that this deck isn't really currently designed to be as competitive as you can make it.
No. I tricked it out with things. Yeah, it's built to be a cool deck.
Yeah.
I tricked it out with things like Intuition and Mana Crypt and
Right, yeah.
stuff like that. But
it's not like you're not trying to, beat the shit out of people. You're not trying to pub stomp people.
No, this is not a pub stomping deck. Then we get to the 2 cards that I was most happy with during the pre-con event. We have Divine Reckoning, which is 2 white for a sorcery.
It's a good one.
Each player chooses a creature they control, destroy the rest. And it has flashback for 5 white.
Yep.
This card won me 2 of the games that I won on the pre-con night.
It's super good.
It's really powerful.
Back whenever I had that Zur deck, that was in that deck.
Oh, yeah?
Because I only need Zur. That's the only fucking creature that I have. So being able to wipe the board except for Zur,
Yep.
I was like, all right, cool. And I can do it twice. Awesome.
I liked it so much that I brought a clone in.
Yeah?
I brought in Single Combat,
yeah.
which is 3 white for a sorcery that says...
From War, right?
Yeah, it's from War of the Spark. Each player chooses a creature or planeswalker they control, then sacrifices the rest.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. Oh, it also has some more text. Players can't cast creature or planeswalker spells until the end of your next turn.
Yep. It's super good.
It's a very powerful board wipe.
It's one of the... I wonder if it's the best board wipe out of War.
Quite possibly.
Probably, right?
Yeah, and the fact that I can choose Savine.
I'm trying to think what other board wipes are even in War. Kaya's Wrath?
Yeah, Kaya's Wrath.
Kaya's Wrath is pretty good.
No, Kaya's Wrath wasn't War. Kaya's
Was it
Wrath was Ravnica Allegiance.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was
Damn.
my pre-release promo.
Oh, nice.
But the fact that I can choose Savine and then prevent everyone from casting creature and planeswalker spells while I sit here and cast my instants and sorceries, it's really quite powerful.
Super good.
Then the other card I was most happy with, and I was actually surprised because I was a little underwhelmed when this card was spoiled.
I think a lot of people were.
But it turned out to be quite the powerhouse. It's Savine's Reclamation. It's 2 white for a sorcery. Return target permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If this spell was cast from a graveyard, you may copy the spell and choose new targets for the copy. And it has flashback for 4 white. Now, it does need to be noted that Savine's trigger will net you 1 more copy of the spell.
4.
You don't get 4, you get 3. But I actually put in kind of a 3 mana planeswalker sub-theme.
Yeah.
Because of Savine's Reclamation.
Okay.
So, for example, the Chandra Acolyte of Flames.
Yeah.
It was 3 mana. Another card that I immediately put in here was Jace Vryn's Prodigy.
Yeah.
Which, again, combos with Intuition.
Yeah.
And it's only 2 mana to return it to the battle. So you can return it to the battlefield with Savine's Reclamation. I also have Narset in here. I have
Baby
Teferi. Yeah, Baby Teferi. I didn't put Baby Jason here. I might.
I don't know.
I honestly don't know.
I don't like that in this deck, I don't think. I'm trying to think of anything in your list that I would cut for that. And I don't think you need it. I don't think you need the draw that you would be using him for.
No, if anything, I would put Dak in here over Baby Jace. But the problem with Dak is if I'm going to use Dak, then I need Clock Spinning.
Well, you could also, I guess, use Dak to just do little things like steal a Soul Ring or a Chromatic Lantern and that kind of stuff, which isn't bad.
But, I mean, the looting effect that Dak has is quite good for a flashback deck.
Also true.
And it's that looting effect is the reason that I'm running Jace Wielder of Mysteries in the deck. Because self-mill in a flashback deck is really powerful.
Yeah.
And if I'm self-milling, then having a Labman is really good.
Solid, yeah.
Yeah.
That's also kind of a good point to touch on here is that you can run things like Jace or, more specifically Jace, and not have a way to immediately win the game with it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to run fucking Paradigm Shift or
any
of that kind of shit. Jace is just good on his own in the right deck.
Yeah, I do wish he was 3 mana so I could hit him with Savine's Reclamation.
Yeah, and triple blue is a little hard in a 3-color deck.
It's not that difficult in this deck.
No, I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, in general. Well, because the first thing I did was I upgraded my mana rocks. I dropped all of the shitty 3 mana rocks that they put in there.
Yeah, precons are historically really bad at that.
And I replaced them with 2 mana rocks that produce colored mana.
Yeah.
And because, this deck is mana hungry because I'm flashbacking, and flashback costs are always
a lot,
extremely expensive. That's why I'm running things like Arcane Melee and Baral and Goblin Electromancer, and of course, the All-Star Smothering Tithe.
Yeah. Probably the best card out of that set.
Easily,
I would think. Yeah,
easily.
Like, it has to be, right? Smothering Tithe is just fucking insane.
So that's all of the cards that I kept in. There's, 15.
Yep.
15 and then Savine. So 16 cards I kept in from the original deck.
And like some of the land and stuff.
Yeah, some of the land, not much of the land.
That's the other thing precons are historically pretty bad at is mana bases.
Yeah, I kept like the Exotic Orchard and...
That was another reprint I was happy to see. Exotic Orchard is pretty good.
But yeah, so moving on from there, we have kind of a couple of categories of things that I put in. The first category is 3 mana Planeswalkers. We've talked about a couple of them. I also put Narset in here because Narset's just broken.
Solid.
Pretty much any other card that wasn't already included in the precon that had flashback and draw a card on it ended up in here.
Yeah.
I did pull out Desperate Ravings because discarding a card at random in a deck like this that really, really wants to very carefully craft a plan over multiple turns it's not great.
Yeah. Generally, discard at random effects are pretty brutal.
They're okay in decks like this normally.
Right, but I mean, even if you're looking at stuff, like, I didn't even want to run stuff like that in Muldrotha.
Yeah.
Because it was just, like, it can so often just screw you. It's like, one of the only times you can run Gamble would be maybe in a deck like this or in a deck like Kess, for example.
Well, Gamble is actually quite good in a deck like Marisil, where you actually do not
put
care.
It in the graveyard.
Well, you don't care.
Oh, that's true.
Whether it's in graveyard or hand.
Because you can discard. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, it's discard at random effects are generally speaking pretty bad.
Yeah. I guess the next category would be let's cast things from graveyards.
Yeah.
So we have Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, because that -2 is super powerful. And the fact that, I have things like Ralstorm Conduit, Jaya Ballard, Ral is at Viceroy.
Yeah.
Her 0 ability to put
counters
on red planeswalkers it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Then of course I have Jace Vryn's Prodigy.
Yep.
Again, let's cast things from graveyards. Snapcaster Mage.
Of course.
Obviously. Jaya Ballard. Jaya Ballard is really good at getting things into the graveyard, and people ignore her.
Yeah.
So she's actually not that difficult to alt, because she comes down with 5 and +1s immediately.
Yeah.
And then she can either add mana or add cards to your hand and graveyard. So
she has 2 +1s.
Yeah.
She's actually pretty good, and the ult giving all of your shit flashback forever is...
And it's not actually flashback either. Like, if a thing has buyback, then you can pay the buyback cost and it goes to your hand.
Yeah.
Where that doesn't work with flashback.
It just exiles it no matter what.
Then Mission Briefing.
Yeah.
Because I actually like Mission Briefing better than Snapcaster.
I was about to say.
Again, because if you flashback something with buyback. And I love buyback spells.
Yep.
So... And then the last would be Past in Flames.
Yeah.
This is not a Storm deck.
No.
Past
in Flames is more of a value engine in that deck than anything else, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Past in Flames is historically very powerful.
Yes, quite. Then the next kind of category is ways to get things into the graveyard. Jace Wielder of Mysteries falls into that. Frantic Search actually doubles as a combo piece, and I'll talk about the actual win con here in a minute. Then I put Shenanigans in this deck because it's a red card with Dredge.
Yeah. Yep.
So in Commander, there's always pesky artifacts. It's a little annoying. It's a sorcery, but it has Dredge 1.
Dredge is a pretty good mechanic.
Yeah. As long as I have Shenanigans and Nexus of Fate, and targets for Shenanigans, I can never be milled out.
Yeah.
Because I can always Dredge Nexus of Fate.
Yep.
And then send it back in. So, yeah.
It's pretty good.
And then, let's see, we have... Ral is at Viceroy. His +1 is quite powerful. His -3 is actually super relevant in a flashback and jumpstart, and any deck that relies on having a lot of things in instants and sorceries in graveyard or exile, because that -3 being able to just straight fucking blow up a Kozilek is it's really good. And so that's the second category. The third category is, so they included a couple of things to give you an idea of how you could do this in the precon, which is using damage-based board wipes with your commander who can't die.
Right.
So they had a couple of really crappy ones. I put good ones in here. So I have Blasphemous Act, which is 8 and a red, but it actually costs 1 red.
Yeah.
It costs 1 less for each creature on the battlefield and does 13 damage to each creature.
Yeah.
Savine can't take damage.
It's going to kill basically everything that exists, and except for your commander.
Yep. And then Chain Reaction, which is red Wrath of God. 2 red. Chain Reaction deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield.
Yeah, very similar to Blasphemous Act.
And then I guess we're on to win cons.
Yeah. How do you win?
So Intuition.
Yep.
Helps a lot.
It's a pretty good tutor.
And the fact that I can flash it back and do bullshit with it. The other really good tutor in here is Ignite the Beacon.
Yeah.
If I can flashback Ignite the Beacon and get a total of 6 Planeswalkers out of my deck, that's basically all the Planeswalkers in my deck.
It's all of them. It's pretty good.
So I can mill myself out, so Jace Wielder of Mysteries is kind of a tertiary win con.
Mm-hmm.
I'm casting lots and lots of instants and sorceries, so Gutter Snipe can sometimes just fucking get there.
Right.
Savine can't die, so sometimes just chip damage with Savine will
Yeah.
get me there. But I'm a Johnny.
Yep.
So I have to have a convoluted combo to win the game. So what we have here is Ral Storm Conduit combo. Ral Storm Conduit is 2 blue-red for a Planeswalker Ral. Whenever you cast or copy, I love that.
Yeah.
An instant or sorcery spell, Ral Storm Conduit deals 1 damage to target opponent or Planeswalker.
Yep.
So there's a couple of ways that I can combo with this. I can use Increasing Vengeance.
Yep.
To copy another copy spell.
Yep.
I can use Ral Storm Conduit's -2 to cause a copy chain to start. And then there's bonus round.
The granddaddy of all copy spells, pretty much.
So bonus round is 1 red for a sorcery. Until end of turn, whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, that player copies it and may choose new targets for the copy.
Yep.
So I play Ral Storm Conduit. I'm -2 to copy the next spell.
Yep.
I cast bonus round.
Yep. Copy.
I let both of them resolve.
Yep.
My for the rest of the turn, my spells will be copied twice.
Yep.
Then I cast Turnabout.
Yep.
I untap all my lands by letting one of the copies resolve. I tap in response, let the second copy resolve, untap all my lands.
Yep.
Tap all my lands, and then I cast Narset's Reversal.
Copied.
I use the copy to bounce the original. Then, when the original is bounced, I use the copy of Narset's Reversal. It's convoluted and I love it.
It's very similar to the Narset's Reversal combos I can do in Rashmi to take infinite turns.
Yep.
Where it's like, I just copy Narset's Reversal and Aslet at times, and then the last one bounces the original turn spell, which then copies itself, and I just keep doing that.
Yep. So, the copy of Narset's Reversal that was copied by Narset's Reversal targets Turnabout.
Yes.
And then Turnabout goes to my hand, and it copies Turnabout and untaps my land.
Yep.
And then I cast Turnabout, I get another 3, and then I cast Narset, and it just goes on forever. Another way of doing this is with Frantic Search.
Yeah.
Because Frantic Search untaps 3 lands, and that's enough to combo with Narset's Reversal.
Yep. Because they total out to 5 mana, and
yep.
it's going to untap a total of 6.
Yep. And, that also has the benefit of letting me rip through the deck.
Draws your deck.
Which lets me then find Turnabout, which is the safer way of doing it.
Right. And you are also this entire time pinging everyone with Ral.
Yep.
Or a Gutter Snipe or something like
that.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, it's a pretty good win con. And if you also ever do get the Narset's Reversal and Frantic Search side of this combo, that brings Labman Jace as another of the win cons.
Exactly.
You just draw your whole deck. So yeah, it's actually super, super, super good. It's a good way to make infinite mana, draw your deck, ping everything to death forever.
Yep.
Yeah, super, super, super solid. All right. Is there anything else you want to say about the deck?
No, I mean it's just a solid value deck, and that again, that's a very different place for me to be as a deck builder.
Yeah.
It's a little uncomfortable. And has led to a little bit of salt on my part. I'm sorry.
Well, I forgive you.
I know. And that's what I love about you, Cameron. But yeah, it's been fun. I really enjoy this deck.
Yeah, it's super cool. I really like watching you play it. I've been very lucky in my draws against the deck, and I feel bad about that. But yeah, so my deck that I made, I just took Crick out of the Rakdos Precon, because Crick's fucking busted, and made mono black combo that also, literally, I was kind of kidding earlier, but for real though, you can just kind of play this like big black. So if you've ever seen big black decks play, or they also can be referred to as things like a Black Devotion deck and stuff like that, you're just using the inherent power that a lot of black cards have.
Yep.
And using them all together to just tear the table apart. You're draining everyone's life. You're, creating these huge creatures, these massive power swings. You're wiping the board and reanimating all your shit. It can be really, really, really good. And at the helm of a normal, big black or black devotion deck, Crick is just the best commander that you can use for that.
Yep.
Period.
But that's not the best way to build Crick.
But it's not. So I didn't want to make this deck completely competitive. This is a very powerful deck. Before we get into this, out of curiosity, about how much do you think Savine costs, the deck list?
My current deck list?
Yeah. I know you haven't priced it. I'm just curious what you would guess.
There's a Crypt
with
Intuition.
Yeah.
And
what do you think?
Close to $1,000.
Okay. I was just curious because I know how much this deck costs because I'm actually looking at it on Tapped Out right now. And it's about $1,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, and for same kind of reasons. There's a Crypt in this deck and that kind of stuff. Crypt is the big thing that skews deck prices.
Yeah, exactly. Reprint Crick!
For the love of God, reprint Crypt. Holy shit, reprint Crypt. Okay, so anyway, one thing that I also really like about this Crick deck is there's a lot of really shitty cards in this deck that are actually pretty solid, specifically in this deck. So that could be something like Pontiff of Blight, which is not good at all, but it's pretty good in a Crick deck. So again, Crick has a line of text that says if there is a black mana symbol in a mana cost, you can pay 2 life instead of paying whatever that mana cost is. Extort can be paid with a white or a black mana. Well, Extort as a mechanic says whenever you cast a spell, you pay that 1 mana, drain everybody for 1, and you gain that much life.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting in a 4-player pod, you can pay 2 life instead of the 1 mana with Crick to gain 3 life.
Yep.
Every time you cast a spell.
Yep.
So, and by the way, Extort, if it's on all of your creatures, you can pay each of those Extort costs individually. So if you have 9 creatures out, you can pay each of their Extort costs and gain all of that life, which is real good. So there are some really cheap and really shitty cards in this deck, like Basilica Screecher, which is really bad. It's 1 and a black for a 1/2 flyer with Extort, and that's all it does.
It's a Stormcrow with Extort.
Yeah. It's super bad. It's really bad. It's a common from fucking Gatecrash, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super solid. It's 15 cents on TCG Player. And it's pretty good because that means every time you're casting a spell using your life, you're gaining life.
Yep.
And there are obviously some classic cards that are just super solid in this kind of an archetype. Things like Blood Artist, for example, or Zulaport Cutthroat, always going to be great.
Yep.
Cryptghast is another one that's just fucking nuts. Because again, it has Extort and also doubles all your mana.
Yep.
So it's 10 out of 10. It runs things like Liliana Heretical Healer, which is super good because it's got lifelink. Grey Merchant of Asphodel is fucking insane in this deck.
Hey, I'm going to pay 3 and 4 life to drain everyone for...
like 20?
20.
Because I'm playing a black devotion deck.
Gain 60.
Yeah, gain 60, which is actually 30 mana in this deck. And then, Nirkana Revenant, all that kind of stuff. So this is a deck that's kind of a combination of big black, kind of control-y, that kind of thing. And then it has a combo finisher. And the entire time you're also playing around with your life total.
Yep.
So there are cards in here that just go into that, right? So, for example, one of the win cons in the deck is the classic Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond combo. You're going to be playing with your life total. Your fucking commander has lifelink.
Yep.
Half the shit in the deck gains life.
Yep.
Being able to just get those 2 cards out and win the game immediately is solid.
It's yawn.
Yeah.
It's a boring combo, but hey.
So that's, there's one combo in here that I think is less boring. And then there are the other 2 combos. Well, the main combo, as I'm going to call it, is, I think, pretty cool because of the way that you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's that combo. Then there is the Bantu's Monument, Pawn of Ulamog.
Ooh.
Yeah. Vampire Cutthroat, or Oathsworn Vampire, and then a Sack Outlet. You can use a Henny or a Phyrexian Altar or whatever the hell you want. Yeah. Because I was like, well, Bantu's Monument is like already going to be in the deck.
Yeah.
So Pawn of Ulamog is fine in a deck like this.
Yep.
And then, so super easy to just stick a fucking Oathsworn Vampire in there, and then bang, I win the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a pretty cool little combo. I really like that one. And then we get into the main combo that wins.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a very good card that exists called Doomsday.
Of course it's a Doomsday deck.
Of course, because Doomsday costs black, which means it's fucking free with Crick. I get to do this shit for free. And Doomsday is a sorcery that says, search your library and graveyard for 5 cards, exile your library, and sit those 5 cards in your library in any order that you want. Okay? And then you lose half your life, rounded up, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So basically, you tutor for 5 cards and then put them in your library and arrange them any way you want. So your library is 5 cards.
So don't do it when you're at 1 life.
Don't do it when you're at 1 life. Pro tip. And normally in Doomsday decks and Doomsday piles and that kind of stuff, the win con is Labman. Because, for obvious reasons, you just exiled your whole fucking library and then you just go get Labman, play Labman, draw the rest of your deck.
Well, I guess in this deck, don't do it at 7 life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that actually kind of brings up a point that I'm going to talk about in a second. But anyway, one of the problems that I had, I was like, man, Doomsday is fucking nuts with Crick. Mm-hmm. How do I win with Doomsday in mono black?
Yeah. That's actually something I'm curious about. How do you win with Doomsday in mono black?
Right? I was like, wait, how the fuck do I win? It's because this is cool, but I don't know what I'm doing. So this is the part of the combo that makes it a boring combo. There's a classic called Mycontrike.
Yeah.
Which is Mycaeus the Unhallowed and Triskelion. And it's kind of a complicated combo. But basically, Mycaeus is a 6-drop. He costs 3 black. And he has got a bunch of words on him.
Yep.
But basically, the only one that matters is non-human creatures you control have Undying.
Yep.
Which means whenever they die, they come back with a +1/+1 counter on them, assuming they didn't already have a +1/+1 counter on them.
Yes.
Triskelion is an artifact creature. It's colorless.
Yep.
I think it also costs 6.
Yeah.
And it enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it, and you can remove a +1/+1 counter to deal 1 damage.
Yep.
So,
and I believe it's a 0/0 with.
It's a 1/1.
It's a 1/1.
It's a 1/1 naturally.
And
then it comes in with a 3 counter, so it's a 4/4.
Right.
But and Mycaeus also gives it +1/+1,
exactly.
which makes it That's why I'm saying it's kind of complicated. But anyway, the two of them together, what you can do is you can remove a counter to deal a damage, remove a counter to deal a damage, and then ping Triskelion.
Yep.
Triskelion dies, didn't have a counter on it, comes back with a counter on it.
Yep.
Remove all the counters to deal more damage, ping itself to death, it dies, comes back, etc. So it's an infinite combo. You deal infinite damage and can win the game. So you Doomsday, right? And you get all those cards there. But again, you're not really playing blue. So you either have to have something in your hand that can draw cards and then play them that way and have mana left over after you've done all this shit. Or you can use another card that is super powerful.
Yes.
Called Bolus's Citadel.
Which costs you 3 mana.
Which costs 3 mana because it's 3 black. And says you can play the top card of your library. I'm sure you guys know what this card does. You can look at and play the top card of your library, and you can pay life equal to its CMC rather than pay its mana cost.
Yep.
So one problem that I ran into, I thought of this and I was like, fuck yeah, I figured it out. And then I went through the combo in my head and kept track of my life total as I was doing this and realized that I couldn't actually cast Triskelion after I did all of that because I didn't have enough life left because I just paid ass loads of life because I've got Crick out, and then you have to cast Citadel, and then fucking Mycaeus, and Doomsday, and Doomsday also makes you lose half your fucking life. So you get down to like 4 life left after Mycaeus and all that. And so I was like, fuck, what do I do? And then I remembered there's a card called Torgar.
I love Torgar.
Famine Incarnate, which he costs like 8. Yeah, 8. He costs 6 black for a 7/6. As an additional cost to cast him, you can sacrifice any number of creatures. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each creature sacrificed this way. I don't care about that line of text. And whenever he enters the battlefield, up to 1 target player's life total becomes half their starting life total rounded down. So, with Citadel, you Doomsday, you put Torgar on top, and then Mycaeus and Triskelion, and then you Torgar, go down to like 2 fucking life. Torgar enters the battlefield, sets your life total to 20, and that gives you enough life with Bolas' Citadel to play Mike and Trike and win the game. And to top that off, the card that you put underneath Triskelion is Imp's Mischief.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you have a counter spell for...
Yep.
You play the mic and they're like, okay, we'll wait for the Trike.
And then Triskelion, and they're like, okay, in response, I counter it. And you're like, in response, I fucking Imp's Mischief off the top of my library, motherfucker.
I'm guessing if your devotion is high enough, you could also use Grey Merchant in place of Torgar.
You could absolutely. So that's one of the benefits of using Doomsday as the win con for the deck. That's why I call it the main win con, is because it's actually fucking crazy flexible.
Yeah.
That you can do so much shit using Doomsday. You can use Grey Merchant to win the game depending on what your devotion is and what everybody's life totals are. You could, if you already have, Pawn of Ulamog and the fucking Bantu's Monument out, you could just go get fucking Oathsworn Vampire and then play it, and you're good. So there are tons of different ways that you can win using that. You also can just win through being a big black deck and playing things like Sheoldred.
Yeah.
Right? Which is in the deck.
Yeah, Sheoldred's fucking busted.
Especially,
she's 5 black?
Oh shit, I don't know. Yes, 5 black.
So she costs 5.
She's 5 mana, 6/6 Swamp Walk. At the beginning of your upkeep, reanimate a thing, and at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, they sack a creature.
Damn.
For 5 mana. It's pretty good. And so there are other things in the deck that are like that. For example, the deck also runs Villas, who a lot of people were like, oh, that's the new big black commander. He's from M20. He's an 8 mana, 8/8 flyer. He costs 5 black. So 5 mana again. He has an activated ability for a black and pay 2 life to give a creature -1/-1. So I can just pay 4 life to give a creature -1/-1. And whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. So whenever you're paying for these spells with Villas out and, Crick out, I'm paying life to cast them and drawing cards and that kind of stuff. So you can kind of draw through your deck like that.
So that's almost replaces Bolas' Citadel and Doomsday.
It can, yeah. So there are a couple of different ways to get there in the deck, along with the fact that you're playing black, so you have the best tutors in the game.
Yep.
I have Demonic Tutor, which in this deck costs 1 mana.
Yep.
I have Vampiric Tutor, which is free. I have Diabolic Tutor, which is a demonic tutor in this deck.
Have you thought about putting Scheming Symmetry in?
It's in the deck.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So you also have cards that are just classically super good, and when they're free, they're even better. Things like Gifted Aetherborn.
Yeah. Which
is the 2 mana 2/3 Flying Death Touch lifelink.
Yep.
And it costs black, so it's fucking free.
And then the classic Vampire Nighthawk.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Which is just 1 mana.
Yep.
It's super good. So one of the things with this, because it also can play like kind of a big black deck, you've got big enchantments in Sanguine Bond and Exquisite Blood. Yep. You have Vilus, who costs 8. You have fucking Triskelion, who costs 6. Torgar costs 8. Sheoldred costs 8. Huge things. You have Twilight Prophet in the deck, which costs you 2 mana. And Twilight Prophet is fucking nuts in this deck. It's a 2/4 with flying and ascend. And it says, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have the City's Blessing, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is that card's converted mana cost.
Wow.
So not only is it card draw, but it's gaining us life, which we can use as mana.
So wait, is it...
And draining our opponents.
It's a reverse Bob then?
Yes.
Wow.
That's the card I bought the other day. I showed you. I was like, got a new card.
Nice.
That card is top fucking tier. By the way, again, 2 mana in this deck. So, yeah, it's crazy good. Other cards that are super good with Crick. Necropotence. Hey, that's free. Let's see. Phyrexian Arena. 1 mana, and I get to draw more cards.
What about Greed?
I considered Greed, but I figured with Phyrexian Arena and Necropotence, I probably didn't need it.
Yeah, probably.
And along with all of the tutors that I can run and Bolas's Citadel and all that kind of stuff, I probably just don't need it. It could go in the deck, though.
What about Yawgmoth? You're running his son. Are you running...
I'm not running Yawgmoth, purely because I don't actually care that much about sacrificing creatures.
Mm-hmm.
I have ways to win the game with that, but it's not really what I'm trying to do with the deck.
Well, you said you were running Yahenni.
Yeah.
Why don't you run him instead of Yahenni?
I think I'm running Yahenni. Actually, I'm not running Yahenni.
Oh,
the sack outlet I use is Ashnod's Altar or Phyrexian Altar.
Ah, okay.
Which are just better. But yeah, I could run him. The other problem that I can run into is that this is a problem that I really tried to fix as much as I could with this deck, which is one of the reasons I have a lot of Extort, which is that I can fucking kill myself.
Yeah.
So it can be rough. So a lot of the deck is designed to try and just gain me as much life as it can.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm running things like fucking Exsanguinate.
Yep.
Right? Just because I have to do that. Because if I don't, I could die.
Yep.
Right? It's a way to just try to gain me some life back. That's why things like Zulaport Cutthroat and Blood Artist are in there. So if I do get a sack outlet on board and that kind of stuff, I can start gaining life that way. And again, they function as another win con if I don't have Blantu's Monument, if I have a Pond of Ulamog and a Ashnod's Altar or whatever. But yeah, there are some other cards in here that are kind of interesting. Like I run Expedition Map purely for Cabal Coffers.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because in Mono Black, Cabal Coffers is fucking nuts.
Are you running the newer Cabal Coffers from Dominaria?
Cabal Stronghold?
Cabal Stronghold?
I considered it. I don't actually remember if I put this in the deck. Hang on one second. Let me check. I am.
Okay.
And then I'm running 30 Snow-Covered Swamps and an extra planar lens.
Yeah.
Because, of course, I am. So, yeah, you have Exsanguinate to get there. Reanimate's free, which is great. Really good draw spells, things like Sign in Blood, which is just free with Crick. You have things like Bubbling Muck, which is really good, because the other problem that you run into is that a lot of the deck, again, is super expensive, CMC-wise.
Right.
And so you have to have as much fucking ramp as you can for if Crick gets removed like he should be.
Yes.
So you want to be able to try and do this
Remove Crick if you see it on the board. Don't let it sit around. Don't say, oh, well, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
Remove Crick.
I'll give him a turn. But yeah, so there are a lot of ways to try and ramp and get there without needing Crick. That's also kind of one of the things that Bolas's Citadel does, is it's kind of like another Crick. You can just kind of play through and keep doing that kind of stuff. And because so much of your deck gains you life, you don't really care about paying for it with Bolas's Citadel.
Yeah.
And then there are other things, just classics, things like Toxic Deluge is in the deck.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that to try and control the board. I fucking love Imp's Mischief in this deck.
Yep.
I run Scour from Existence because I'm mono black.
Yep.
So I have to run a Scour from Existence. So the other thing is Scroll Rack is in the deck.
Okay.
Because with Bolas's Citadel out, that way I don't actually need a Doomsday.
Yeah.
I can just get there with Scroll Rack, which is pretty good. Whip of Erebos is in the deck to give all of my shit lifelink, which is just gaining me life, which is gaining mana, which I knew you thought that would be weird. The other thing that does is it can function as a extra reanimation.
Yeah,
thing.
that part I knew about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, Whip of Erebos, for anybody that doesn't know, is 2 a black and a black for a legendary enchantment artifact. So 2 mana in this deck. Creatures you control have lifelink. And then for 2 black, so again, 2 mana, and tap it, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, exile it at the beginning of the next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So I can use that to bring back fucking Torgar or Crick if I need to, or something like that. So there are a lot of different ways to do that. One of the really important things in this deck is trying to get Crick out as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So one of the cards that I didn't put in this deck because I don't ever plan on buying it realistically is a Grim Monolith.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to fucking buy a Grim Monolith. Crypt is in the deck because I will eventually buy a Mana Crypt just because it's fucking insane. But there are other things that are really, really good, that are historically really good that just get even better with Crick.
Yeah.
Things like Dark Writ, for example. That's free 3 mana with Crick out, which that's a fucking Black Lotus.
Yep.
So things like Cabal Ritual as well just turns into fucking Dark Ritual. Or better Dark Ritual, depending on how, what the game's looking like. You run Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots because people are going to kill the fuck out of Crick. And then you got Mana Vault, Soul Ring, just everything that you can to try and ramp Crick out as fast as possible. Because the only thing you care about is the colorless mana. I also run a Charcoal Diamond because it's okay.
Yeah.
In monocolor decks, it's, not bad. Jet Medallion's in here, of course. Things like that. Sensei's Divining Top's also really good in this deck.
Yeah, it would be.
And yeah.
Because you have Top Citadel.
Yeah, you have Top Citadel. I don't think I put Aetherflux in here, but I could.
Yeah.
Just as another fucking way to win the game. I don't really know if that would be necessary or not. Aetherflux probably wouldn't be bad in this deck.
No, it wouldn't, because of the gain life.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't running top.
Yeah, I could put that in here. The only thing that makes me not want to do that is I already have a deck that does that. So, fuck that. But yeah. So, a lot of ways to just try and fucking ramp Crick out as fast as possible. We run Lotus Petal in this deck. Just trying to get him out there. And yeah.
Although, I think Lotus Petal is heavily underplayed in Commander, honestly.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Because, even though it's temporary, it's free temporary mana.
Yeah.
And, by the same token, I think things like Simian and Elvish Spirit Guide are underplayed.
Well, I think one reason for that is a lot of people look at those cards, specifically Simian and Elvish Spirit Guide, and say, well, it's only really good if it's in your opening hand.
No, it's
which isn't
not
true. But I think that's how a lot of people think about it. Is they're like, well, it's like fast mana, so it's really only good early in the game, and that's not necessarily true.
Think about it this way. How many times have you as a Magic player, dear listener, said, God, I wish I had one more mana?
Yeah. I just wish I had one more mana. It's like, well, that's a free fucking one more mana.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think those cards are also really criminally underplayed, but especially Lotus Petal.
Yeah.
Because you can put Lotus Petal in every deck for, no cost to you at all.
Yeah.
It's money-wise, it's $7, $8, something like that.
$7-8, yeah.
Which isn't the cheapest card in the world, but it's not break the bank expensive.
No, yeah. And if you're trying to build on a budget for on the competitive side of things, having a
it's
0 mana
super
rock
good.
like that is really powerful.
Yeah, if you can't afford to buy things like fucking Mox Diamond and Mox Opal and that kind of stuff, which, by the way, those cards aren't in this deck because I don't own them. And they would be if I did own them. If you can't afford those, Lotus Petal is a great substitute for that kind of stuff. Because a lot of the times, that 1 extra mana or 2 extra mana, you only need it for that turn.
Exactly.
But yeah, there are some pretty cool cards in here. Arcane Signet's in here, fucking obviously. Because Arcane Signet is the best rock that's been printed that I can remember.
Yeah.
And I haven't played for very long, but fucking still.
Yeah.
Arcane Signet
is quite good.
Whew, top tier. Nim Deathmantle's in here.
Yeah?
Because I do have sack outlets and ways to get mana from sacking creatures.
Did you put a Mox Amber in there?
No. That's just because I don't own a Mox Amber, so I didn't think about it. But it'd be fine.
Yeah.
It'd be good in the deck.
That's another one that I think is underplayed.
I think the only reason that I wouldn't want to put that in this deck. Not, I would be more inclined to put it in the deck than I would be against putting it in the deck.
Yeah.
But the only reason I wouldn't want to do it is because it doesn't help me ramp Crick out.
Yeah, and that's the thing a lot of people complain about, but once you have your commander out,
I agree.
It's very powerful.
I agree. When you have your commander out, it's a fucking mox.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with this deck is that the only thing I want to do is get Crick on the fucking board.
Yeah.
So it not helping ramp Crick out is more of a problem in this deck than basically any other deck that you could argue it in.
Yeah.
I also put Polluted Bonds in this deck because I think that card's funny. And and it gains me life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on theme. For anybody that doesn't know, it costs 3 black for an enchantment. So it's 3 mana. Whenever a land comes into play under an opponent's control, that player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a player that's playing a Tatyova deck or
Lord Windgrace,
that's a great one. Any deck that's running Escape Shift,
yep,
something like that, you can deter them from
Muldrotha
Muldrotha's a good
abusing fetch lands,
or strip mines,
yep,
or something like that. It Polluted Bonds is a really good card, and I think it absolutely has a place in this deck. Because again, basically anything that's going to gain me life, especially if it's draining my opponents of their life, that's top tier. Because I need all the help I can get with my life total in this fucking deck. I think for that, the best card in this deck is probably Twilight Prophet.
Yeah, probably.
The other problem that I foresaw with this deck is the possibility of just not finding the cards that I need.
Okay.
So, and that can be remedied and is remedied by the fact that I run like 5 fucking tutors.
Yeah.
But it's not like decks like Kess, for example. Like I have a $200 Kess deck.
Yeah.
And I get what I need in that deck fucking constantly. Just because there's so much draw in that deck.
Yeah.
That you can just draw.
I have the same thing in Savine. I see my combo every game.
Yeah,
easily.
Because you just draw through the whole deck.
Yeah.
And in mono black, that's pretty hard to do. So I tried to add a lot of the things like Twilight Prophet and fucking Necropotence and Phyrexian Arena and all that kind of stuff that is just going to help me draw those cards to try and get there as fast as possible.
Just a little aside about Necropotence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny? Yawgmoth's Will is supposed to be Yawgmoth's Bargain, the banned card, is supposed to be a fixed Necropotence.
Wow, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Necropotence came out first, and Yawgmoth's Bargain is supposed to be a fixed Necropotence.
Wow.
And one of them's banned.
Yeah.
It's the fixed one.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's funny. One thing I also run in this deck is Thorn of the Black Rose. To try to help me get there.
Yeah.
Just because I think that card's super good.
It is. It's very good.
Thorn of the Black Rose, for anybody that doesn't know, because I don't see very many people play this card, is a 4-mana 1/3. It costs 3 and a black for a Death Touch, Human Assassin, and whenever it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch.
The Monarch mechanic is just, it's so good.
It's so good. We, in our play group, we actually did the thing that some people suggested in the Commander Summit for a little while, of whoever goes last starts with the Monarchy.
Yeah.
And after a few games, we were like, man, this is fucking overpowered.
Yeah, no. That's not a good way to fix the last player.
We're like, Jesus Christ, Monarchy is stupid.
You know,
this is so good.
Sorry, another little rabbit trail. You know what I think we might try to fix the last place problem?
What?
Scrying.
You scry one or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be good. What's the metric? Scrying one is like half of a card draw?
Yeah, half of a draw.
Like that. Yeah.
So whoever's in last place gets to scry one.
Gets to scry one? How does that affect Mulligan? Oh, I guess you don't scry anymore on Mulligan.
Yeah, you don't scry anymore on Mulligan.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could try it out.
Yeah.
Try it out on Tuesday. Yeah. Seems good.
Yeah,
I say we try it.
Yeah, I think we should try it.
Because the person that goes last definitely does have a significant disadvantage. I also run cards like Custody Lich.
Yeah.
To become the Monarch, and whenever I become the Monarch, target player sacrifices a creature.
Yep.
Which is super good.
Do you run the enchantment that makes you become the Monarch?
No. So I tried to run as many creatures as I could to do that. This deck actually runs 22 creatures because of a couple of reasons. One, Pontiff of Blight.
Yeah.
Not even kidding. I want as many creatures as I can get on the fucking board to abuse Pontiff of Blight. Also, things like Blood Artist, Zulaport Cutthroat, my sack outlets, Bantu's Monument, and that kind of stuff. I want to be able to drain people and sacrifice creatures to recur them. Nim Deathmantle's in the deck to help me do that as well. Also, Sidisi Undead Vizier's in the deck because, I think that's a pretty obvious one. But yeah, she's 3 black for a 4/6 legendary creature zombie Naga. She has Death Touch and Exploit. And whenever she exploits a creature, you can search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. So Exploit is whenever it enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice a creature. And if you do that, then it has exploited something. So yeah, with Crick, that basically turns into a 3-mana tutor.
Yeah.
Which is good. I need more tutors in the deck. It also can function kind of like a sack outlet. I can recur it with things like Nim Deathmantle to keep tutoring and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it seems like it'd be a really cool deck. The first test hand I ever drew with it, I won on turn 1.
Wow.
And and that was a fluke. I haven't done that since. But since then, I was like, yeah, this deck's pretty good.
It seems really good.
And I'm not saying the deck's perfect. You could absolutely as well tune this deck further than I have tuned it.
Oh, yeah. Adding Mox.
Because again, I haven't added any Mox in. If you want to run a fucking Imperial Seal, if
Yep.
you're a rich motherfucker, you could do that.
Yep.
That obviously would make the deck better. There are tons of different things you could do to increase the power level of the deck. But where it is now, I still think it would just kick ass at a lot of tables.
Yeah, I think so.
The biggest problem that I have, and I tried to remedy it as well as I could, was the lack of interaction that Mono Black has. So I run Imp's Mischief. Yep. Which is basically the only card like that exists.
Do you run
Mono
Dash
Black.
Hopes?
No. I just thought about I could run Slaughter Pact and pay 2 mana?
Yeah.
With that's cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, I run Scour from Existence is good for trying to remove any pesky enchantments or something like that. A lot of creature removal and planeswalker removal and that kind of stuff. Well, not a lot, but enough that I'm comfortable with where it is. But if somebody fights me on the stack with something, then I don't have a lot of options to interact with them back, which is not at all the kind of decks that I normally play.
Yeah, so I guess you're a little out of your comfort zone with this deck,
I have a couple of decks that were like that. Like Animar used to be like that. Less so now. But
you would always get so frustrated when you were playing Animar
I was like
that.
It depends. If it was like the whole night it was like that, yeah, but I understood that I didn't put any fucking interaction in the deck. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, it makes sense. It was also like, I couldn't be mad at somebody for killing Animar or countering Animar. Yeah. When I'm like, if Animar sticks, I win the fucking game. So I understand. Yeah, Animar's a good card. But yeah, that's kind of the only problem that I have with the deck currently.
Yeah, I guess my only problem with Savine right now is how weak it is to Graveyard Hate, and there's not really a way to get around that.
You could run the White Leyline.
Yeah, but
it doesn't get around mass Graveyard Hate.
Yeah, but I'm more concerned about the mass Graveyard Hate. Like, you having Tormod's Crypt was annoying, but I could try and force you to use it.
And that's always the case with Tormod's Crypt.
Yeah, with Tormod's Crypt, in case you didn't know, if you're playing a graveyard deck against someone who has a Tormod's Crypt out, try to bait the Tormod's Crypt.
Yeah. Or another good thing you can do is use some sort of spell that is targeting the Tormod's Crypt. Yep. So, I'm not going to say this specifically, always use this, but a Vandal Blast or something like that, trying to use one of those while somebody has a Tormod's Crypt out, they're like, well, fuck it. I exile your graveyard.
Yeah, exactly. Or like I have Shenanigans and
yeah, exactly. Right?
But then if you get something like Leyline of the Void, that's
rough.
Or Rest in Peace. There's not really a good way to play around those.
Rip is a fucking brutal card.
Rip is a really brutal card. I mean, my Mizzix deck is not a graveyard deck. I do have
and somebody resolves Rip and you're like, fuck.
Yeah. It's not specifically a graveyard deck. I just have recursion because a good commander deck has recursion. And Rip and Void are just so brutal.
It's ridiculous. As somebody that played Muldrotha for a long time, trust me, I know.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, rest in peace. And I'm like, well, I lose.
Yep.
Like I guess I just gotta wait till I find my fucking Rec Sage. But yeah, there are weaknesses to the deck. One of the biggest ones I saw was either A, not having the draw to find the cards that I need.
Yep.
Which I tried to remedy with as many of the good draw things as I could. Trying to be the Monarch or have a Phyrexian Arena, something like that. Dying to life loss, which is probably a huge fucking problem with that deck.
Yeah.
And I put as much life gain shit in that deck as I could. And then the last one being people removing Crick.
Yep.
So I tried to have other ways to generate an ass load of mana.
Well, you're in black, though, so you have access to reanimation. I was going to say,
is either have other ways to generate an ass load of mana, or have something like a Nim Death Mantle out, where if he dies, I can just fucking pay for life and he's back. Or I can reanimate him, or I can Living Death, or I can, do all these other things. Or Shieldred, or something like that, where I can just get him back and not have to deal with paying the tax. Because that's the other thing with Crick, is you can't pay life for the tax.
Yep.
It's only for the black colored specifically. So, yeah. But yeah, I think the deck should be pretty cool.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah. And it, honest to God, isn't that expensive for how powerful it is.
Yeah.
Like, $1,000 is expensive. That's a lot of money. But $1,000 with a fucking mana crypt in it.
Yeah.
And a scroll rack.
Yeah.
And, like...
Thanks, Josh Lee Kwai.
Yeah. That's a good card, man.
It is
Scroll
a good
Rack's
card.
A good-ass card.
But literally 2 years ago, it was like a $15 card.
Really?
Yes.
Damn, I wish I fucking played Magic back then. But yeah, now it's like $60.
Yeah.
Something around there. And it's got a, Sensei's Tops in there and fucking...
Yeah.
And in that deck as well, Yogg's Will's in there. Because I have Dark Writs and Cabal Ritual and Demonic Tutor and Vampiric Tutor and all that kind of shit. Which is really good to be able to recur.
Yep.
So yeah, there's some pretty big bomb cards in there that drive that price up. So for what it is, it's really not that bad. And again, a majority of the deck is shit like Pontiff of Blight and Basilica Screecher.
Yeah.
So, not that bad. But yeah, I think you could probably build a deck that it was comparable power level to it for significantly less.
Yeah, just pull out the really expensive pieces and
you'd do totally fine. But yeah.
I mean, just cutting the crypt cuts off $250.
Yeah. And then you cut out fucking Yogg's Will and the scroll rack and you're down another 120 or whatever.
Yeah.
So you could do a lot with that deck for not that much money. But yeah, I'm super excited about Crick. He seems super cool.
I'm excited for you to build the deck.
Yeah. It's going to be weird having... Because I'm also kind of happy because it's going to play different than a lot of the other decks that I have.
Yeah.
Which it'll be cool. Because most of the decks that I have are either like very fast combo decks, like Kaikar. Yeah. Which I built on accident. Or, hard control or Staxy type stuff like Muldrotha or Rashmi. That kind of stuff. So,
value control, not combo control so much.
Right, yeah.
Because I play a lot of control, but I'm more of a combo control player as opposed to a value control player.
Like Muldrotha is like pretty hard stacks and then wins with, I think, Leyline of the Void and Helm of Obedience. Yeah. And then, Rashmi take infinite turns and mill everybody to death. But yeah. So, I don't know. It should be really fun. I'm excited to play it. Yeah.
So moving on to announcements, we are going to be at Atlanta Magic Fest.
Yes.
This month.
Yeah. It's the 19th through the 22nd. Something like that. You would know better than I because you just took off work for it. Yeah, I think it's the 19th. I hope it's the 19th through the 22nd because that's what I just took off work for. I looked it up and then asked my boss if I could have those days off. So I assume I was correct. Yes. So yeah, it's towards the end of this month.
We're probably not going to be playing in any of the main events. We're just going to go there. Have fun. See if we can find some people to pick up some Commander games. I'm probably going to bring my Tashar, my CEDH deck. I will bring Grenzo. Yep. And then one other deck, TBD. I'll bring Hapatra. Hapatra is really fun. Yeah. And not super powerful. Really good deck, but not, competitive by any means. Then maybe Rashmi.
And then maybe Rashmi. And then I might bring Kaikar. Kaikar is really fun.
Yeah.
I think those are 3 pretty different cool decks.
Yeah, I'm debating whether or not I want to bring my Joyra Storm deck. That's original Joyra, not...
yeah, Joyra of the Gitu.
Yeah. Or if I want to bring Mizzix. But I don't really want to bring Mizzix.
Well, yeah, it's like originally I was like, I might bring Muldrotha, and then I was like, well, that's not a good way to make friends.
Yeah.
So, maybe not going to do that.
Neither are Tashar or Rashmi, but that's a different kind of...
Yeah, that's like, we sit down and we know what everybody's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, everyone, okay, you all want to play CEDH?
Yeah.
Cool.
Bring out your big boy decks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that should be super fun. I'm looking forward to that a lot.
And I'm not sure if it's happened already yet or not. Probably it'll be released before this episode. But our first YouTube video,
we're on YouTube,
has come out.
Multiple platforms, bitches.
Yep. And that is me playing the Throne of Eldraine Brawl event.
I'm so hyped for Throne of Eldraine.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped for Throne of Eldraine. And that's actually as soon as Brawl is fully released on Arena, I'm going to start releasing weekly content with me streaming. If they have ranked Brawl, I'll be streaming ranked Brawl.
Yeah.
Or not streaming, I'll be uploading YouTube videos of ranked Brawl.
Which should be super, super cool. I'm so hyped for Eldraine, dude.
Yeah.
I love this set so much.
It looks really, really fun.
Like, oh my god, this is like my favorite aesthetic for anything ever.
I'm excited. I know everyone's kind of like iffy on the collector pack thing.
Oh.
But I think it's really fucking cool.
I think I'm like half and half. I'm like, that's cool, but it's also like,
Well, okay, so here's why I think it's cool. Okay? If you ask for Magic cards for Christmas from a non-Magic player, asking for singles is hard.
That's true.
Asking for packs is boring.
True.
If you ask for these collector's packs...
Okay, that's fair.
From a non-Magic player...
That's fair.
As a Christmas present, be like, hey, I would like these collector's packs.
Yeah.
Then that's
a really good gift.
Yeah, they're fantastic gifts. You get to open really cool looking cards.
Yeah, I really like how those cards. What are they called? Storybook.
Yeah,
cards?
The storybook cards for the Eldraine version.
They look
and
so cool.
That's gonna be the new masterpiece thing.
Yeah,
is gonna be these special border and full art, extended art and borderless and stuff like that.
Yeah. I forget, can you open the fancy ones in a normal pack like a masterpiece?
Or I don't think so. I think they're just collector's packs.
But yeah, they look super, super cool. I'm so hyped for this set, dude. This is like 100% my aesthetic. I love everything about it.
Yeah, I really like this set too. Like, I typically could take or leave top-down sets. But this top-down set is...
Yeah.
Like, I know everyone loved Innistrad. I really didn't care for Innistrad.
I didn't play an Innistrad, so I have no opinion.
I
think Sorin's cool.
I mean, Sorin's cool, but, like, everyone was like, oh, vampires, werewolves. And I'm like,
Yeah. It's been done. This is like fucking Grimm's Fairy Tales and Camelot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
But they, like, made them darker.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so cool. I'm so excited.
So, Cam, where can people find us on the interwebs?
Interwebs. All right. So you can follow us on Twitter at Inside Johnny's M1. You can see all of our tapped outs. You're Achija and I'm TheKillSwitch. You can email us if you find any cool combos or any interesting card interactions.
We love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, it's super cool at InsideJohnny'sMind@gmail. And then, other than that, come see us at the Magic Fest in Atlanta. That'll be super cool. Meeting all you guys. And that's about it.
All right, folks. Well, we hope that we've been a terrible influence on you again this month.
Yeah. And may you draw lands and spells.
Bye, guys.
See ya.